Namaskaram everyone, this is Vishwaksen and welcome to Baka Talks where we talk about mental health and emotional well-being in different kinds of relationships. We are doing a glossary of frequently used terms and let's talk about triggers today. What are triggers? Triggers are external stimuli that make us relive an experience. On a positive note, there are a lot of positive triggers. We might smell a rose and immediately we remember something that something wonderful that we've experienced with respect to roses, or with respect to a person who has given us roses or who we have given roses to. Chocolates are the same thing. We have fond memories that we share with chocolates. Some comfort foods. The comfort foods are comforting because they have a lot of positive emotions and comfort attached to them. Something, a food, a simple food that our parents or our caregivers have made for us whenever we are ill. A small simple soup that we used to have, or small broth, or khichdi or pongal, something simple that we used to eat when we were taken care, when someone was taking care of us. So when we eat that, when we have that comfort food, we relive the moments of comfort, we relive the moments where we were cared for, and we enjoy that feeling. That is a trigger. Along with all these wonderful positive triggers, we have triggers that are extremely debilitating. We have triggers that are extremely painful. We People who have gone through trauma, who have traumatic experiences in their past, soldiers who have fought in wars, when they come back home, they they jump. They have jump scares. They jump at loud sounds, loud unexpected sounds, because those sounds make them revisit the war that they have been in, that uncertainty where they were, where their life was on the line, where they did not know whether they'll come back home. the, this fear, this uncertainty, and this trauma is very very deep seated in their minds. And when they hear certain loud sounds, they're immediately taken to that traumatic incidents, and immediately they are alert, they are scared, they expect things around them to be warlike. These are a few of the triggers, few examples of the triggers. And in for someone who has gone through emotional trauma, there are triggers that make them relive the trauma. It can be talking about certain topics, it can be certain smells, it can be certain sounds that make them go back and relive the traumatic experience and be in front of their perpetrator again. It is extremely debilitating and extremely weakening, and they feel helpless, they feel that everything is lost, and they have to be brought back to reality. When a person is in a narcissistic relationship, the narcissist knows these triggers. It's not that they don't know the triggers. They know these triggers, but they don't care, because they use these triggers to keep you under control. They use these triggers to make you feel worthless. They keep using these triggers to to control you, to gaslight you, to manipulate you. They say, well, you have to grow out of it. It's been so long, you have to move on. How you respond, I cannot control how you respond. It is, I like doing this, I like talking about this, I like eating this, I like listening to this. So you should control yourself, you should move on. That's what they say. And they keep repeating the actions over and over again and enjoy seeing you going through hell and a half. And because when you are in a confused state, when you are in a fight or flight mode, it's easy to control you, it is easy to manipulate you, and they keep using it. They force you to relive the traumatic experience over and over and over again. They will not help you to deal with it and heal from it and move on. They make you relive the traumatic experience over and over again and enjoy that. The triggers, it we share our triggers with them because we share experiences with the narcissistic person, and we trust them, so we share things with them. And because in the love bombing phase they appear to be very, very wonderful people, or they have been in our lives throughout our life, and we were and they know our triggers, they know the trauma that we have gone through. They Because they have been a close observing audience to our trauma, or they have been the perpetrator to begin with. And they call us weak, they call us uh, they call us stubborn, they call us living in the past, they call us all sorts of names for having a reaction, for being triggered by things that to an external person is normal, regular, but for us is extremely painful. And they make fun of us for having such reactions, further making us feel guilty for having a certain reaction, because we have not moved past our trauma, we have not dealt, we have not healed from our trauma. And as a result, it is our perpetrator still holds control over our mind space, and we are very careful to avoid these topics, we are very careful to avoid revisiting the trauma. We put it under wraps, we close the box, we lock the key, we throw the key out. And these triggers are like the keys that open the box up and expose us to the trauma again. And a narcissistic person enjoys when when we struggle to deal with the trauma again, because we have not healed from the trauma. So a trigger can be anything. A trigger can be a person. A trigger can be an environment. A trigger can be a smell. A trigger can be a sound. A trigger can be of certain phrases. Trigger can be a topic of discussion. When we are not comfortable to go and be around a certain person because that person is extremely triggering, because that person has been there or has been the reason why uh, we have our traumas, and we are forced to interact with that person, it is extremely it is extremely uncomfortable for us to be in the situations, and we are forced into those situations by narcissistic people in our lives. We are forced to be in the situations, we are forced to talk uh, about topics that we are not comfortable with. We are forced to interact with people that we don't feel safe around. We are forced to uh, go through our trauma over and over again in our heads, in a way to silence us, because we are dealing with the trauma. We don't have time to look around, to be in the real world. And that is also a means for the narcissist, that's also a tool for the narcissist to use against us, to gaslight us, because when we are forced into a situation where we are reliving our trauma, we are not paying attention to our surroundings, and we rely on their narrative, when we rely on what they say, what happened, and how we are supposed to act, or how we are supposed to talk, how we are supposed to behave. It's easier for the narcissist to control us, to manipulate us, while we are triggered and we are exposed to our trauma over and over again in our minds. There are some triggers for the narcissist as well. These are the triggers that make them go ballistic, that brings the narcissistic rage to the surface, and they make it our fault to bring up their triggers. The difference is, our triggers are traumatic, their triggers are basically blows to their egos. When they feel humiliated in any way, that is their trigger. When they feel that people are not following their orders, that is their trigger. For us, it is reliving a traumatic experience, reliving an extremely uncertain and unsafe experience. So there's a difference. Trigger is definitely a word that is used in both sides. There are triggers that makes us relive really wonderful experiences. There are triggers that makes us feel debilitated very instantly. It's as if someone turned on a switch, and we are suddenly, our whole persona changes, because we are no longer in our physical environment. We are in a mental state that is completely disassociated with our physical environment. It it is like it is like having a nightmare. Only thing is, we are awake while having the nightmare. We need care. We need someone to bring us back to the reality. We need someone to reassure us that it is a dream, it is not real. We have to be brought back to the reality. But in the presence of a narcissist, they do not help us to come back to reality. They enjoy us struggling. Thank you. If you like my content, please hit the like button and share your experiences in the comment section below. And please share this with people that you feel would benefit from my content. And please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.